What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and the Depp v. Heard trial is going on a 10-day break. And you know what? I think that's kind of weird, taking a break in the middle of a trial, but you know what? If you're someone who has been watching this trial, or better yet, if you're someone that has been involved in this case, then you need a vacation. I feel like I need a vacation. So I'm glad we are taking a break next week. And it's my birthday week next week, and I did not want to spend my birthday watching AH's nonsense on the stand. But, ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it, just because it's a break doesn't mean that the drama is going to stop. Now, AH's team and Johnny Depp's team, they're firing shots right back at each other, and they just issued some new statements. and Johnny Depp's respective teams have both issued statements after AH's explosive testimony on Thursday, in which she alleged that Johnny Depp SA'd her with a bottle and detailed the alleged A she experienced at the hands of the actor. As Mr. Depp's counsel correctly predicted in their opening statements last month, Miss Heard did indeed deliver the performance of her life in her direct examination, a spokesperson for Johnny Depp said. Right out the gate, said that she pulled off. Oh my God, this is just scorched earth. Scorched earth. I didn't expect them to throw so much shade, to throw so much salt. But they're basically saying that AH gave the performance of her lifetime while on the stand. And you know, that's hilarious, but it's even more hilarious when they're saying this about an actress. You know, this is something that we hear about normal people, but when you hear it about an actress, it's like it's that much worse. It stings that much more. While I can't say her name, I always forget. While AH's stories have continued to grow new and convenient details, Mr. Depp's regulations have remained exactly the same throughout the 6 painful years since her first allegations were made. Bam! Thank you. Acknowledge the fact that a lot of these details are new. They're convenient to make her story sound maybe more believable, more intense. She's literally like the psychiatrist said about her, she over-exaggerates things. And all of these stories are either fake or over-exaggerated. And she adds these little details in there that for some people, it may make her sound more believable, but for me, it makes it sound more like she's lying. Like she adds these unnecessary details to make herself sound more believable, and usually that's what someone that is lying does. Like usually if you're telling the truth, you're more vague about your story than when you're lying, because when you're lying, you try to think of all these details that you could add to the story or add to your lie to make it sound more believable. And that's exactly what AH is doing. And a lot of these new allegations and claims, they're new. Like I just said, they're new allegations and claims. They're stuff that we haven't heard over the last 6-7 years that this situation has been going on. So she's literally on the stand just creating new stuff as she goes along. His truth, the truth, is the same no matter the environment in which it has been presented. I'm glad that they corrected that, because at the beginning they say his truth, and then they reword it and say, no, the truth is the same no matter the environment in which it has been presented. You know, we have, as a society, we have to move away from this, oh, this is her truth or his truth or that's your truth. There is only one truth, the truth. All of this his truth, her truth, this was started by literal movements like the Me Too movement. Like the same fanatical weirdos that support AH, That's where this, oh, it's her truth, his truth. That's where all of this started. Because it started for lack of better words, it started because there was, how do I word this? I'm trying to be as respectful as possible here. It started because there were a lot of victims, or so-called victims, coming out with allegations about men. And even when those men could prove that those allegations were false, they would be like, oh, well, this is her truth. This is how she felt. And often, women would put themselves in situations and then kind of feel bad about what they did later on. And then they would throw a man under the bus. Like, even though a woman will be okay with having sex with a man, afterwards she might not feel okay about it. Afterwards she may feel guilty. And she'll just basically blame the man for all types of egregious things. And even though the man can show text messages like, hey, look, this is clearly a consensual act. She was even the one that came on to me. Yeah, well, that's okay, but we're more concerned about her truth. Her truth is this is how she felt. Never mind the facts. So getting away from this his truth, her truth, we have to do that as a society because it is extremely detrimental. And I need to make a whole video talking about that. The origin of her truth, his truth, and how the truth all of a sudden went away from being the truth to being something that is owned by someone. Whereas two parties could be involved in a situation and both people could have different truths. That's not how reality works, but that's how these people want you to think reality works. The statement concludes by saying, the upcoming cross-examination from Mr. Depp's team will be most telling and will certainly highlight the many fallacies AH has now attempted to pass off as fact throughout her convoluted testimony. And you know what? That gets me hyped. That right there kind of just got me hyped. They're letting you know, like, hey, we're confident. Once this cross-examination happens, we're going to highlight all of these lies. We're going to catch her up in so many lies, and I cannot wait. And you know what? I just can't help but feel like this break came at an opportune time for AH. This break is not working out in Johnny's favor. This break is working out almost 100% in AH's favor. In fact, I want to know when this break came about, whose idea it was for this break. Why is this break happening right after AH takes the stand and drops all of these bombshell allegations? New fake allegations. It's just weird. I feel like it would have made a lot more sense if Johnny and Johnny's team rested their case. You know, they're done with their witnesses, and then we go into a break, and then we pick up with AH's witnesses and AH taking the stand. But no, we hear 2 days of AH crying on the stand, dropping all of these new allegations about Johnny, and that's the last taste everyone is going to have in their mouth for 10 days. For 10 days, all of the tabloids, all of the media outlets, they're all going to be working around stories that happened within the last 2 days before this trial went on break. And in the last 2 days before this trial went on break, it was all about AH and her spreading whatever lies she possibly could. So yeah, this break isn't working out in Johnny's favor. Also, I think this gives AH and her team time to regroup, rehuddle, and come up with a new strategy. I could tell you from the jump that day 1 and day 2 of AH's testimony, they were a little different. She went in day 2 with a different strategy. And going in after this break, she's going to have a whole different strategy. Maybe she'll have some time to work on her acting skills, learn how to fake cry a little bit more. Her new PR team is actually doing a good job for her, which I hate to say it, but they are. They're doing a better job than her last PR team. So there's going to be a whole plan that they're going to come up with, and they're going to be preparing over this week to battle this cross-examination. So instead of AH kind of like, just having to go with the flow, she's having a time to sit back and evaluate the first couple of days of her testimony and rework how she approaches this going forward. So I don't like that this break happened right after her testimony, or right after 2 days of her testimony. So, of course, AH's team weren't going to take this statement lying down. They replied, and I'm not going to lie, their reply pissed me off. When I first read this, it pissed me off, and I just had to wait a second before I recorded a video because I did not want to get on here and just give an angry rant, which is how a lot of my AH's videos go because, man, I do not like this woman. In response, AH's team said this: as evidenced by the statement just released, Mr. Depp's defamation claim is falling apart so rapidly that his counsel are turning from prosecutor to persecutor. They boast that Mr. Depp's story has not changed. If so, since he lost the DV restraining order and he resoundingly lost the libel case in the UK, perhaps he should consider a new strategy, rather than the recycled approach of attacking the victim and refusing to take responsibility for his own conduct. And you know, that's not the end of the statement, but man, it got my blood boiling. Because for one, they're basically talking down on Johnny Depp for having the same approach to the situation the whole time. And usually when you're telling the truth, you don't feel the need to take different approaches. You don't feel the need to pivot. You don't feel the need to change your strategy. Your strategy when you're telling the truth is to just tell the truth. And what happens, happens. And then he says that Johnny basically refuses to take any responsibility for his own conduct. And I don't like that statement at all because I feel like this whole case, or at least a good portion of this case, has been all about Johnny taking responsibility for his conduct. If Johnny did not want to take responsibility for his conduct, he would not go on the stand in front of the entire world and tell them his problems. Johnny's issues, Johnny's problems, Johnny's addictions, they've all been on full display for weeks now in this trial. And if that is not taking responsibility for your conduct, then I don't know what is. I don't see Johnny sitting here and going against the facts that, yeah, he had issues with drugs. Yeah, he had issues with alcohol. I don't see him battling those facts. What I see him battling is these allegations that he is a horrible person that puts his hands on women all the time. That's what he's been battling. So no, I really don't appreciate them saying that he's not taking responsibility for his conduct, because what is this whole entire lawsuit if not Johnny taking responsibility for his wrongs, but basically saying, yeah, you know, I'm this, I'm that, I've done this, I've done that, but I am not the monster that she is accusing me of being. Now they go on with a statement. If Mr. Depp was truly innocent, why has he repeatedly apologized to Miss H and promised to put the monster away for good? AH's spokesperson says, adding that one of AH's disappointments is that Johnny Depp's inability to distinguish fact from fiction, which has spread to his legal team. Man, talk about gaslighting. Talk about trying to be manipulative. Because in their relationship, he apologized to AH about some of the things he did does not mean that he's done what she is accusing him of. Apologizing to her for missing her birthday. apologizing to her for maybe, still having an addiction problem, apologizing to her for random little things is way different than acknowledging, hey, yeah, I'm this person that literally shoved a bottle up your poo nanny and beat your face in 24/7. There's a big difference. A very big difference. But they're trying to muddy the waters here. And it may work on some weak-minded people. And they're saying that this inability to distinguish fact from fiction is spreading into his legal team. No. We all know that AH is the one that has this inability to distinguish fact from fiction. Literally, some of her stories about Johnny Depp are stories that she pulled directly from movies and books and her own assistants and friends. Johnny, everything that Johnny has said has sounded believable to me. It sounded believable to me. It hasn't sounded too far-fetched. Yet AH, she's just gone off the wall. And it would be one thing if we heard all of these shocking allegations and we were kind of in the dark about what actually happened. But I want you all to remember, you all have to remember this, that while AH is saying that Johnny did all of these terrible things, we have pictures of her the next day. This is a celebrity, lives their life in the limelight. She's on talk shows. She's getting pictures taken by paparazzi. Literally hours after she's so-called walking and rolling all over glass, and she's cut up, and she's got a broken nose and swollen eyes, and she's just this battered person, yet she's on a talk show the next day looking perfectly fine. So that's basically how we know that she's living in this life of fiction. Because regardless of what claims she makes, we have pictures of her in those same time periods looking perfectly fine. And that's what you all have to remember, no matter how convincing her stories may be, that we have photos of her on most of these occasions, literally the day after, the next day, what have you, of her looking perfectly fine. We have medical experts, doctors, nurses, psychiatrists that all worked with her directly, who never saw any signs of this. We have officers who responded to the 911 calls, never saw any sign of this. AH's team goes on to say this. That same team is so panicked, they are fighting tooth and nail to prevent compelling evidence and photos from being introduced. Small wonder Mr. Depp does not have the fortitude or courage to even look at Miss Heard, I said her name, at all throughout the proceedings, as he could not in the UK trial, and instead he doodles and snickers. Yeah, you're right. Because most victims don't want to look into the eyes of the people who treated them so horribly. It's hard for them. It's not hard for AH to sit there and stare Johnny Depp down while she's on the stand. No, because she knows what she's saying is a lie. Therefore, she has this confidence. Johnny doesn't have the confidence to look at her because she tore him down every chance she got. And it wasn't just the physical things, the physical altercations. It was the mental and verbal stuff as well. Telling Johnny that he's just a fat old man and no one cares anymore and blah, 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 blah. Yet here we have Johnny, after being canceled, and his career is still more promising than AH's. And as far as preventing this new compelling evidence and photos from being introduced, where the hell were all of these compelling evidence and photos throughout the last trial? Where was this evidence and photos throughout the last almost a decade of this going on? They were nowhere to be found, but now all of a sudden you have these new photos. And you know what? I kind of think they're introducing some of these photos to do just this. To basically go out there in the media and be like, oh, well, Depp's team is blocking this photo and that photo. When in reality, these photos are nothing burgers. They're nothing burgers. The other day, they showed a picture of a kitchen. And this picture of the kitchen was supposed to be so damning on Johnny Depp. Oh, this kitchen is going to be so horrible for Johnny Depp. But literally, it's just AH like, yeah, look, see here? This is where I was laying. It was an L-shaped little bar or whatever. And it's just like, man, these photos are nothing. She's literally talking about how, oh, her face was all battered and a broken nose and glass everywhere. And then she shows a picture of a bruise on her arm. A bruise that she probably got while acting. Oh, man. So, yeah, Johnny is doodling and snickering because he has to sit here in front of this BITCH that is just spewing nonsense 24/7. What do you want the man to do? Mr. Depp's behavior in this trial has been as pitiful as it was in their marriage. Oh, now that's getting dirty. That's getting dirty. Mr. Depp's behavior in this trial has been as pitiful as it was in their marriage. Apparently, they feel they must double down on their losing two-part strategy. Distract the jury and demonize the victim. Oh my God. This is crazy. You know, I made a point in a prior video that AH, what she does is she'll take what she does to people and then she'll accuse those people of doing what she did to them to her. So she'll slap you in the face, and instead of taking accountability for slapping you in the face, instead of apologizing for slapping you in the face, she'll point the finger at you and be like, he slapped me in the face. That's the type of person she is. And her team, obviously, is taking notes. Maybe AH is rubbing off on her team. Maybe they're just two peas in the same pod. Because they're saying that Johnny Depp has a two-part strategy to this trial. To distract the jury and to demonize the victim. Where? When did this happen? When? Please, any of you, if you've watched this trial, show me where this has happened. Show me where Johnny Depp's team has tried to distract the jury. You can't. It didn't happen. Johnny Depp, when he took the stand, he didn't even look at the jury. When Johnny Depp's witnesses took the stand, the majority of them, from what I've seen, never looked at the jury. When AH took the stand, she directly addresses the jury. When she's talking, when she's telling her story, she is directly looking at the jury. Body turned towards them. Body turned like this. And I made this point in my last video. The lawyer's over here asking her questions. And instead of AH looking forward, instead of AH looking at her lawyer, or Johnny's lawyers, AH is over here, looking directly at the jury. So if anyone's trying to distract the jury, it's AH. Because she's the one that's trying to so intimately engage with them. Because she's the one that feels like she has to oversell her story. Because it's not true. When you're telling the truth, you don't try to oversell the truth. You just tell the truth. And it is what it is. Flat out. But she needs to overact, oversell her story because it's fake. So if anyone has been distracting the jury, it's been her. And demonizing the victim. Oh. Really? I didn't see Johnny Depp's team come to this trial with any new allegations about AH. I didn't see them come with any new evidence about AH. I saw them come into this trial and try to clear Johnny's name and try to get to the bottom of all of this. Whereas AH has gotten on the stand and directly demonized Johnny Depp. She's directly gotten on the stand and made up new false allegations about Johnny Depp. She has demonized Johnny Depp every step of the way. Johnny Depp's team and his defense is more so like, hey, Johnny didn't do this. Johnny didn't do that. It's not, oh, AH did this, AH did this, AH did that. It's more so, oh, Johnny didn't do this. No, there's evidence that Johnny didn't do that. Oh, we know AH said this. Well, here's evidence that that didn't happen. Whereas AH's defense is, oh, Johnny did this. Here's new allegations about Johnny. Here's a new allegation about Johnny. And it's basically just her and her team trying to smear Johnny's name in whatever way possible. It's not about them proving that this little article that she wrote for the Washington Post didn't, tamper with his career. It's all about, hey, Johnny's this bad person. Johnny did this to me. Johnny did that to me. Hey, everyone, please just recognize Johnny's a bad person, not me. So she's the one demonizing Johnny. So all in all, these statements, I'm sure we're going to hear more in the coming days. We're going to start seeing more people weigh in. I think this is going to be an interesting 10 days to see what happens in between now and then, because this is a huge trial. A lot of people are paying attention to it. There's already been drama surrounding it, so I expect nothing but drama for the next 10 days, and a lot of people are going to get antsy. Who knows what may come out? But I want to know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you on the next video.